This is Shireesha from Master of Business Administration, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So in this session, I'm going to discuss about features of capital budgeting proposals. So one must know why this capital budgeting is necessary. So why the capital budgeting is necessary? Because one must reduce the cost of the project to cut the cost or to control the cost and to increase the revenues, so which is going to in turn maximize the profits of the organization or for a project which is considered for the capital budgeting. So this capital budgeting is basically classified for doing two activities, that is to reduce the production or to reduce the cost of the project and to increase the revenue of the project. So this capital budgeting is helping to increase the revenue of the project and to control the costs which are associated with the project. So here it is easy to estimate what is the cost of the project and how much of expenses are required to do that particular project, and how much of revenue is going to be generated is going to be estimated through this capital budgeting. So with this, one can understand one can estimate the future expected things, so that he is going to decide or he is going to check with the investment alternatives. So based on the different investment alternatives, he is going to check what is the opportunity cost and what is the opportunity loss one is having in this particular capital budgeting. So this capital budgeting is helpful in this way in reducing the cost of the project and to increase the revenues of the project. So what are the capital budgeting decisions? We have investment decisions which are going to affect the revenue. So when we consider a particular project, we are going to check what is the investment decision for which is affecting a revenue. One must think in a different directions, because here when we take investment decision according to the revenue. So before we invest on any of the project, what we check is we are going to check how much of revenue we are going to generate out of that particular project, out of our investment made, right? So that's the reason here the rational capital budgeting decisions are going to depend based on the investment decisions which are affecting the revenue. And the next one is investment decisions which are reducing the cost. So not only just taking the income or just considering the revenue part, one must also think for the cost. So how to reduce the cost? So in investment decisions, we are going to consider to what extent the cost can be controllable, so that it is going to maximize the profit or it is going to increase the revenue. So according to the reduction of the cost, according to the cost associates, how much the cost can be controllable, and so that it is going to impact the revenue, right? It is going to increase the profit of the project. So based on the investment decisions, based on the reduction of the cost also, we are going to consider it as a capital budgeting decision. And the next one is strategic investment decisions. So the strategic investment decisions are going to give us the fruitful results, so that one must consider this strategic approach for taking the investment alternative before we choose a particular project. And the next one is tactical investment decisions. So based on tactical, like spontaneously, one must react for the situation and adopt the better alternative and consider the better alternative for the investment for the investment, so that he's going to have more benefit. So all these come together will make us a rational capital budgeting decisions, which has to be carried on. And the next one is kinds of capital budgeting decisions. So what are the different kinds of capital budgeting decisions we see is, like, when we are going to take this capital budgeting decisions, generally we see in case of placements, like in case of replacement. So if the assets are obsolete, so if the assets are not working, are not in a working condition, so they are not in a like a good condition. So when they are not in a good condition to run that particular project, then one must check with the assets, whatever are there in that particular project has to be replaced with the newer ones. So in that particular situation, one must think whether to invest on that, whether to replace the assets or continue the with the same old assets and do some outsourcing of the work and continue with the project. So here, in case of replacements, we are checking whether this is one kind of capital budgeting decision where we are going to take in case of replacement of the assets. And next one is expansion. So when a person or when a project is already working and the capacity of the plant or capacity of that particular project has to be increased, then we are going to go with the expansion plan. So here also we are going to use capital budgeting decisions. And the next one is diversification. So instead of putting all the funds in only one particular project, the particular project is working on at a situation and that is just running on with a particular located market. So here the limitations are to a particular market. The product limitations are to a particular market. So now we want to increase that marketing. So when we want to increase the marketing, we are going to go all around and we are going to release the product in different markets so that we are going to minimize the risk. So here also, this is also one kind of capital budgeting decision. And the next one is research and development. So nowadays, research and development has become very, very important. And without this research and development, new startups or new ventures are not going to come out. So that's the reason here the research, like one must invest a lot of money in research and development also, so that based on the research work or background work, whatever they are doing, so that is going to help for the project which is going to be considered for the next level of the capital budgeting decisions. So these are the different kinds of capital budgeting decisions we see. And we do also see different types of projects, are the projects are complementary projects or mutually exclusive projects. If it is complementary project, for example, when we consider to construct, we have decided that we have to construct a particular building. Okay, when one in that particular building, we are going to start a institution. Okay, when institution is running, so definitely there we require some canteen facility, right, or a cafeteria facility. So these are the complementary facilities which a organization or the institute is facilitating to the employees or to the people who are working there, right? So here, this complementary, here one if only canteen cannot be constructed over there, right? Until unless there is a organization or there is a building over there, the other canteen facility cannot be prepared, right? So this is a complementary decision. Okay, so here that is complementary capital budgeting decision. And the next one is mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive means here I have 1 lakh rupees. I have 1 lakh rupees with me. This 1 lakh rupees, I'm just thinking whether to invest in a particular project, or I need to invest on real estate, or I need to invest on share market, or I am going to do a fixed deposit. So these are the different alternatives I have in my mind, right? So when I have different alternatives in my mind, what I am thinking is like all the ideas or all the alternatives which I have are mutually exclusive. So it is not going to affect the like if I am choosing to invest in a land, so that is not affecting the rest of the alternatives. But whereas in complementary, so if one is if I have taken a decision that I have to construct a building, definitely I am going to construct a canteen. So if I'm not constructing a building, definitely I'm not going to construct canteen also. So these are complementary. If one is there, the other one comes automatically. So that is what is the complementary decision, complementary capital budgeting decisions. And the next one is mutually exclusive decisions, where that is not affecting the other part of the alternatives which we have. And going forward with features of capital budgeting. So what are the features of capital budgeting is, here this capital budgeting is planned for the future activity, and here it is involved with the investment of funds currently for getting benefits for the future. Okay, so capital budgeting is used, it is involved with the investment of the money which we have in our hand for the benefit of the future. So we are expecting something more than what we have today in the future. So that is one feature of the capital budgeting. And the next one is the future benefits are going to spread over for several years. So for many years, we are going to plan that we are going to have some income out of this projects. So that is like capital budgeting is estimating that, right? So through that also, one can get more amount of money, and it is a long term investment, and it is going to be a fixed investment. For example, if I am investing on a particular project, that is I have started a particular project like constructing a dam. So just simply like dam cannot be constructed within a day, right? Within a year or within 2 years, it cannot be constructed. It takes some long years. So that is the opportunity which I have. That is the project where I'm going to budget the I'm going to capital budget that particular project. So all the funds are going to be committed for longer duration in this capital budgeting. And the next one is, here the project is going to determine what is the financial condition of the business in future. So before we invest any amount of money in a particular project, so we are going to estimate what is the financial condition of the business in the future. So based on the future estimates only, this capital budgeting is just we are estimating the future cash inflows of the organization, right? So that's the reason this investment is made in the project. So where we are going to determine what is the future inflow of the cash for that particular organization. So one can assess what is the financial condition of that particular business. And it is each project is involved with huge amount of funds. So as it is these capital budgeting techniques are definitely going to be based on the long-term investment patterns. So definitely the funds are committed for the longer duration, and the capital expenditure decisions are not going to be irreversible, because once we have decided that we have to invest in that particular project, so until the project is completed, one cannot say that we are not interested with that project in the middle of the project, and that project cannot be left over like that. So once the investment is committed in that, one cannot go with a withdrawal of that particular project. It has to be the capital expenditure is committed to that, right? So all the fixed assets are bought, all the building is constructed, everything is constructed, and everything is done. And in the middle of the project, one cannot leave the project, and that capital expenditure decision is not possible to revise it. And coming to the profitability of the business concern, it is based on the quantum of the investment made in the project. So these are the features of capital budgeting. Now let's move on with the process of capital budgeting. So how to make the capital budgeting? So first we need to identify what are the investment opportunities we have in our hand. So based on the different alternatives, investment alternatives, one can start the this capital budgeting. And the next one is we need to gather information of different proposals. So as I was telling, whether I need to go with the replacement policy, or we have to go with the diversification of the company or expanding the company, or we have to gather so much of information regarding the investment proposals. So if I am going with the diversification, what is the amount which I am going to invest in? So what is the proposal, investment proposal is there in front of me, that has to be identified. And the next one is then we are going to take the decision making process in capital budgeting. Once the data is collected, and then first we should identify what are the opportunities we have, and then we are going to work on that and gather some information about it, what are the different proposals we have, and then we are going with the decision making process in capital budgeting. And the next one is what is the capital budget preparations and appropriations. So how to budget, and what are the preparations, what are the appropriations has to be done with the proposals we have. And then finally, after we make appropriations, then we are going to implement and choose the best investment alternative which we have. We are going to implement it, and then finally we are going to review the performance of the organization or for the project. So these are the steps we have in the process of capital budgeting. And then we move on with the limitations of the capital budgeting. So coming to the limitations of capital budgeting, it do also have certain limitations, like once it is a long-term implication. So once the money is committed over there, it cannot be taken back. So it is not a short-term based operation. So it is used as the operations of the business. So it is going to be there for the longer duration. So if there is any problem in the project, but still the project has to be continued. So it is one of the limitation. And sometimes we do see inadequate investment make difficulty to the company to increase the budget of the capital, because already we are blocked with certain amount of capital. Okay, so we see some amount of capital is already there. That capital has to be budgeted, right? So one cannot put some more amount, or every a month or every year one cannot add on the investment pattern. So so the investment is going to make a little a difficulty for the company to increase the budgeting of the capital, because it is already committed. So it is going to involve with a large number of funds. So the decision has to be taken very very carefully, because the amount of capital which is contributing for that particular project is going to be really high, and the projects are going to are going to work for longer duration. So the decisions, whoever takes the decision has to be very much keen towards the proposals. And the next one is the decision in capital budgeting cannot be modified, and it is hard to locate the market for the capital goods. It is going to there will not be any modified things. It cannot be modified in the middle of the project. And finally, this it is estimating that respect of how much of cash, like before we invest on a particular project, we are estimating what is the cash outflows and what is the cash inflows of that particular project, right? So here we are estimating what is the cash inflow and outflow for the future. So sometimes we are estimating, and we are adopting certain techniques of capital budgeting, and then concluding that this can be the revenue and this can be the expenditure. But all the time we cannot expect the same to be happened in the exact reality. So that's the reason this is going to be another limitation of the capital budgeting decisions. So this is all about the features and all about the capital budgeting. So in the next session, let's meet with the techniques of capital budgeting. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.